So imagine you've created this like absolutely killer product
Right.
and it is just crushing it on your direct-to-consumer site. Maybe it's even going viral online.
You're getting all those Shopify notifications.
Exactly. And then the next logical dream for any founder, right? You want to walk into a massive retail, like a Staples or an Office Depot, and see your creation sitting right there on the shelf.
Yeah, that is the ultimate validation for a lot of people.
So the day Staples calls you to place, say, a 20,000 unit order, I mean, that should be the best day of your life.
You would think so.
Yeah.
But statistically speaking, it's actually the day your business is most likely to go bankrupt.
Oh, wow. Which is a terrifying thought.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because that single massive purchase order, it triggers this total operational avalanche.
Right.
The cash flow that you need to fulfill an order of that magnitude, combined with these just brutal financial penalties for even minor supply chain errors.
Big penalties.
Oh, yeah. Massive penalties. And they can completely wipe out a growing brand months before your product ever actually hits a physical shelf.
See, this is the hidden reality of big box retail, and that's exactly what today's deep dive is all about. We're unpacking this really essential guide from Retailbound.
Right, written by their founder, Johann Jacob.
Yeah, it's titled How to Get Your Product into Staples or Office Depot. And our mission today is to, decode the hidden machinery of national retail distribution.
Because it really is a machine.
It is. We are going to look at the exact operational hurdles, the financial traps, and what these category buyers actually demand before they'll even consider giving you a single inch of shelf space.
Because breaking into a multi-billion-dollar retailer, it takes so much more than just having a clever invention.
Right. The product isn't enough.
Not at all. A brilliant product that's paired with a weak supply chain. To a massive retailer, that is simply a liability.
It's a risk.
Exactly. It demands this level of operational perfection that, honestly, most digitally native brands have just never been forced to develop.
Okay, let's unpack this because the sheer scale of national retail is just mind-blowing to me. The volume of these purchase orders.
It's massive.
But the guide points out that before you can even pitch a buyer, you have to prove your product actually belongs in their physical ecosystem.
Right, which is a completely different world than the digital feed.
Yeah, because in the direct-to-consumer world, you completely control the environment, right? A customer clicks a targeted ad, they land on your page, and they see these beautifully lit lifestyle photos on a crisp white background.
Zero distractions.
Exactly. Zero distractions. But taking that same product and just dropping it onto a physical shelf in some fluorescent lit aisle, it's a totally different ballgame.
It really is. And the guide heavily stresses that before you even consider drafting an email to a retail buyer, you have to do physical market research.
Like actually going to the store.
Literally walking the aisles where your product would live.
Yeah.
Because when you walk down an Office Depot aisle, you are looking at highly optimized, heavily scrutinized real estate.
Every inch counts.
Every single peg hook, every shelf facing, it is expected to generate a very specific dollar amount of profit every single week.
So they aren't just going to take a chance on a whim.
No. Retailers are not interested in swapping out a reliable, best-selling desk organizer for an untested one that just looks like 5% better.
Right. They want something completely new.
They are hunting for differentiation. They want products that align with macro trends. So things like sustainable, eco-friendly materials or, hybrid work productivity tools.
Just that brings in new money, basically.
Exactly. They want entirely new revenue brought to the category rather than a product that just cannibalizes the sales of the items that are already stocking.
And because that shelf space is so ruthlessly competitive, you no longer have the luxury of a scrolling web page to explain why your, hybrid work solution is revolutionary.
Right. Nobody is reading a 1,000-word description in the aisle.
No. Your physical box has to do the heavy lifting instantly. And the guide introduces these two vital metrics here, the 3-second rule and the 5-foot rule.
Yeah, these are crucial. So picture a shopper. They're pushing a cart, walking at a normal pace, about 5 feet away from the shelf.
Okay.
Their brain is currently processing this massive amount of visual noise. Hundreds of competing colors, structural shapes, brightly colored price tags, all under that harsh store lighting we talked about.
Sounds overwhelming.
It is. So in that environment, the human eye relies on peripheral vision and rapid visual hierarchy to just filter out 99% of what is on the shelf.
Wow. 99%.
Yeah, if your packaging design does not interrupt that subconscious scanning process from 5 feet away, you effectively do not exist.
It's like the difference between a dating app profile and walking into a really crowded, noisy room.
That's a great way to put it.
Because online, you can get away with this minimalist, sleek, matte black box because, well, the customer already read your ad copy. They already watched your TikTok video before clicking buy.
Right, they're already sold.
But in a crowded retail store, it's like speed dating in person. The lighting is terrible. Everyone is looking at their watch. You literally have 3 seconds to stop that shopper in their tracks, introduce the product, and prove the value. So why is the packaging doing so much of this work?
Because the packaging is basically acting as your silent salesperson.
Oh, I like that. Silent salesperson.
Yeah, in that 3-second window, it has to drive the impulse conversion entirely on its own. No website, no reviews popping up.
It's all on the box.
Right. But a standard direct-to-consumer box usually fails this test structurally, too.
Structurally, what do you mean?
Well, a sleek mailer box that you ship to someone's house rarely has a scannable UPC barcode in the correct orientation.
So true.
It's usually missing required regulatory and compliance labels, and it often just lacks the physical durability to survive massive freight shipments.
Not to mention the actual physical dimensions. The guide says if your packaging isn't designed to hang properly on standard retail peg hooks.
The little holes at the top.
Right, or if it doesn't fit seamlessly into standard shelf depths, the retailer's merchandising team literally cannot display it.
They won't even try. If it doesn't fit the physical constraints of their store fixtures, it just gets shoved on a bottom shelf out of the customer's sightline.
Or tossed straight into a clearance bin.
Exactly, which guarantees dismal sales figures and an incredibly short lifespan for you in that retailer's ecosystem.
Yeah.
The physical form factor is honestly just as critical as the graphic design.
Okay, so let's say the packaging is completely dialed in. It pops from 5 feet away. The barcode is flawless. It hangs perfectly on a peg hook.
You've got the silent salesperson.
Yes. Now you have to get past the ultimate gatekeeper, right? You need a meeting with the actual category buyer. And here's where I think a lot of founders, they get a little defensive.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if I'm the founder, I'm thinking, I have engineered the perfect, innovative, ergonomic office chair. The physical product should just speak for itself.
Just sit in it.
Exactly. So why does a Staples buyer need to see a 15-page pitch deck detailing my Shopify conversion rates, or Amazon search volume, or like my old Kickstarter campaign data?
Well, this is the hard truth. The buyer isn't actually evaluating a chair.
They aren't.
No, they're evaluating a business case. To a category manager, your cool, unproven brand represents a massive professional threat to their own performance metrics.
Wait, a threat? How?
Think about it. If they take a chance on your chair and they allocate premium shelf space to it and it doesn't sell,
Oh, they're stuck with it.
they are stuck with millions of dollars in dead inventory. Their bonus, and potentially their actual job, is on the line.
Oh, wow. So they want data to protect themselves.
Exactly. Digital sales data, your Shopify metrics, Amazon velocity, crowdfunding history, that acts as absolute proof of demand. It tells the buyer, consumers already want this, and they're already pulling out their credit cards for it.
So as a founder, I'm not really pitching them a cool product. I'm pitching a risk-mitigated financial asset.
That is exactly what you're doing. You are bringing them the receipts to prove this is not a gamble.
They want to know the gross margin, the inventory turnover rate, the sales velocity.
Right. And sales velocity is basically the pulse of the retail industry. It's this precise measure of how many units move off a single shelf facing per week.
Because high margin isn't enough, right?
No. A product with an incredibly high profit margin, but a super sluggish sales velocity, is actually less profitable over a year than a lower margin item that just turns over rapidly.
You want things flying off the shelf.
Right. So you have to prove, using your digital data, that your product has the velocity to justify displacing an established, reliable brand that is already sitting in that spot.
But to even have the opportunity to present that data, you first have to actually find the buyer. And the Retailbound guide is incredibly explicit here.
Yeah, they do not hold back.
They say blasting cold emails to general contact forms or like generic corporate inboxes is a complete waste of time.
Utter waste. Buyers are drowning in thousands of automated pitches every single week. You need strategic access.
So how do you get that?
You have to utilize highly targeted channels. That means tracking down the specific category manager on LinkedIn.
Doing the homework.
Yes. Or exhibiting at major industry trade shows like CES or the National Hardware Show, where buyers go specifically to hunt for vetted innovation.
Or using platforms like RangeMe, right?
Exactly. RangeMe is huge because buyers actively search it. Or the other option is leveraging an established network by working with a retail broker or a launch agency.
Which is exactly what Johann Jacob's firm Retailbound does.
Right. They already hold the direct lines and the trusting relationships with these buyers.
And in an industry built entirely on trust and, like you said, risk mitigation, a warm introduction from a known broker totally bypasses the spam filter.
It ensures your pitch deck actually gets opened, because a buyer is infinitely more receptive to a pitch when a trusted broker has already pre-vetted your supply chain and operational readiness.
Okay, which brings us to, honestly, the most deceptive part of this whole journey. Let's say we do everything right. We secure the meeting, the buyer reviews our Shopify velocity, they love the silent salesperson packaging, and they say, yes, let's do a national rollout.
The Holy Grail.
Right. Most founders would pop the champagne right there.
I would.
But the guide drops this massive reality check. Getting that verbal yes from the buyer actually just unlocks the most dangerous phase of the entire process.
The operational gauntlet.
Yes, the vendor submission process. Tell me about this.
Well, just the onboarding process alone is this grueling stress test. You are required to submit full financial histories, proof of comprehensive liability insurance, incredibly detailed product specs, exact case pack dimensions.
It's like applying for a mortgage, but worse.
Much worse. And you have to verify your minimum order quantities and manufacturing capacity. This takes months of just relentless professional follow-up before a purchase order is ever actually drafted.
But the real shock to a new brand system, the thing that really caught me off guard, is the contract negotiation, specifically payment terms like net 60 or net 90.
Oh yes, the cash flow killer.
Can we walk through the actual financial mechanics of a net 90 term? Because it is terrifying for a small business.
Yeah, let's break it down.
Okay, so you received this massive purchase order from Staples.
First, you have to pay your overseas factory up front to manufacture 20,000 units.
So cash is out the door.
Then you pay the freight forwarder to ship those units across the ocean.
More cash out.
Then you pay your third-party logistics company, your 3PL, to receive the goods, palletize them, and put them on a truck to the Staples distribution center.
Okay, so at this point, all of that capital has drained from your bank account.
All of it. And after the product arrives, you wait 90 days for the retailer to finally cut you a check.
90 days, that's 3 months.
You are effectively acting as an interest-free bank for a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
That is wild.
It is. And if you do not have the working capital or a substantial line of credit or some factoring service in place to bridge that massive 3-month gap, fulfilling that order will literally drain your operating accounts to zero.
So you could have a best-selling product flying off the shelves.
And still face bankruptcy because you cannot make payroll or pay your rent while waiting on a net 90 invoice to clear.
Wow. And here's where it gets really interesting. Because that check you finally receive after 3 months, it might be significantly smaller than you projected.
Oh, the chargebacks.
Yes. I had to read this section of the guide twice to fully grasp the severity. You're telling me if my warehouse puts a shipping label like 2 inches too high on a carton, the retailer will penalize me.
They will penalize you financially, yes, and deduct that money directly out of your invoice.
Just for a label being off, how does that even work?
Okay, so you have to picture a modern retail distribution center. It is an absolute marvel of industrial automation. We're talking miles of conveyor belts moving at 40 miles an hour.
Okay.
And they are monitored by overhead laser scanners that route thousands of cartons a minute based entirely on barcode placement.
Ah, so the machines are reading them.
Exactly. Every major retailer provides a routing guide. And this isn't a pamphlet. This is a dense, highly technical manual like a phone book dictating exactly how a pallet must be built.
Like what kind of pallet?
The exact type of wood for the pallet, the structural height of the boxes, the exact color of the shrink wrap, and the precise millimeter placement of every single barcode and shipping label.
So if my barcode is printed slightly out of alignment,
The overhead laser scanner cannot read it.
and what happens?
The automated conveyor belt literally stops. A human worker has to physically walk over, figure out what is inside your carton, and manually route it through the facility.
And I'm guessing they don't do that for free.
Not at all. The retailer charges you, sometimes $500, or a percentage of the entire shipment's value, for that exact disruption.
That is brutal.
It is, but they cannot function profitably if thousands of different vendors all decide to pack their boxes creatively.
Right, they need everyone in line.
Chargebacks are how massive corporations enforce strict supply chain uniformity. It is a direct financial tax on operational amateurism.
Which brings up a really brutal question of sheer scale for the founder. Like, can your current manufacturing partner and your 3PL actually handle this?
That's the million-dollar question.
Can they handle a sudden spike from shipping 50 single orders a day in a Shopify polybag to building structurally flawless routing guide compliant pallets for a 20,000 unit order?
And if the answer is no, or if you run the financial models and realize that a single pallet mistake will trigger enough chargebacks to wipe out your entire profit margin, you have to pump the brakes.
You can't just cross your fingers.
No. The guide strongly advises negotiating a regional rollout or a small initial test order instead of blindly accepting a national launch.
Like walking before you run.
Exactly. Proving your operational logistics in 50 stores gives you the runway to identify and fix your supply chain bugs before you try to scale to 1,000 stores.
Okay, so let's say we do all of that. We secure the working capital to survive the net 90 gap.
We build the pallets perfectly.
The laser scanners process everything without a single chargeback.
A miracle.
Our product officially lands on the physical shelf at Office Depot. But the guide makes a really sobering point here. Getting onto the shelf is just the starting line.
It's not a victory lap at all.
It's basically like signing a high-interest real estate lease. The retailer is acting as a commercial landlord.
That's the perfect analogy. The retailer provides the highly trafficked physical real estate, but you are entirely responsible for paying the rent.
And how do we pay the rent?
In the retail ecosystem, you pay the rent with sell-through.
Sell-through.
Yeah, that's the speed at which your product actually moves from the physical shelf through the cash register and into a customer's hands.
So it just sits there.
If you do not generate enough foot traffic to justify the space your product occupies on that specific peg hook, you will be evicted from the store.
Wow. See, I think there's this massive misconception among digital brands that once you are finally inside a Staples, the retailer will actively market the product for you.
Oh, a lot of people think that. I made it into the catalog, I'm good.
Right. But the reality is the marketing burden falls almost entirely on the manufacturer.
Yep. Retailers expect you to drive the demand.
You have to act as your own internal marketing agency just to drive localized foot traffic.
Exactly. That means funding geo-targeted digital advertising around the specific store locations where your product is stocked.
Like running Facebook ads just for a 5-mile radius around a Staples?
Precisely. It means mobilizing your existing direct-to-consumer email list and telling them to go shop at physical locations.
Which feels backwards for an online brand.
It does, but you have to do it. Executing influencer campaigns and even paying for in-store promotional placements or end cap displays, and that all comes out of your own profit margins.
So you're basically managing a highly complex micro business inside of their macro business?
That's exactly what it is. Getting the purchase order is like getting drafted into the pros, but driving sell-through is actually playing the game and scoring points.
Right. And thriving retail brands, they're constantly monitoring this, aren't they?
Constantly. They're looking at weekly point-of-sale data, analyzing sell-through rates by specific geographic regions, and proactively identifying supply chain bottlenecks before the category manager ever even notices a dip in performance.
Because if you fail to drive that required sell-through, the retailer isn't going to just patiently wait for the market to catch on.
No, they are ruthless. They will mark down the inventory to aggressively clear it out of the store just to make room for a better performing brand.
And don't they make you pay for that markdown?
They absolutely do. They frequently require the manufacturer to cover the financial cost of that discount. It's a mechanism known in the industry as markdown money or margin guarantees.
That is a tough pill to swallow.
Very tough. And once a product is marked down and cleared out, your partnership with that retailer is essentially burned, often permanently.
When you step back and look at this entire machine, the sheer volume of operational and financial responsibility placed entirely on the manufacturer is just staggering.
It's a massive undertaking.
Like you're completely redesigning your packaging into this highly visible, structurally compliant, silent salesperson.
Right.
You're pitching data-driven business cases to these risk-averse buyers just to prove you won't ruin their metrics. You're fronting massive amounts of capital to survive net 90 payment terms, meticulously dodging these automated warehouse chargebacks, and funding your own localized marketing campaigns just to ensure the product actually rings at the register.
But, I mean, the rewards of national retail distribution are undeniable.
Oh, for sure. The scale is incredible.
Right. The sheer volume can turn a niche online-only startup into a dominant household name almost overnight.
The upside is huge.
But the operational perfection required to capture and actually maintain that reward, it is totally unforgiving.
Which leaves a pretty heavy question for any founder eyeing a massive retail expansion, because the guide makes it abundantly clear just how much of this burden falls on your shoulders.
Yeah,
It really makes you wonder if all of your available cash flow and your creative energy and your time are suddenly completely monopolized by managing massive physical inventory flows.
fighting millimeter-specific pallet chargeback.
Yes. And funding geo-targeted ads for Office Depot. Are you losing the agility that made your brand special in the first place?
That's the real danger.
Does the pursuit of massive retail scale actually risk stifling a small brand's ability to innovate? If all your cash is tied up in inventory, is the massive scale actually worth changing the fundamental DNA of your business?
It's something you have to seriously ask yourself.
It's a massive operational leap, and it's something to definitely chew on before you start chasing those giant purchase orders.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for joining us as we pulled apart the hidden mechanics of the big box retail gauntlet. Take these operational blueprints, stress test your own supply chains, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.